Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 34th episode of the ArtaCast, and a special episode because it's the episode before Worlds with a lot of. We will discuss today a lot of, of course, a lot of things regarding the Worlds and the format and the decks, and we both made up our setup, which we would bring. I think that could be exciting. And there were also a lot of big tournaments, and especially one tournament I was very happy because a very big tournament in Belgium won by a good friend of mine, which we will discuss soon, I think. LD, how was your week? How is your Lorcana feeling? Do you have identity crisis, or are you happy?
My identity crisis is eased a bit. So yeah, for the context of people that maybe didn't hear so much last week, I've been feeling quite lost because the format is quite flat, and I'm somebody that likes to try lots of things out, and there are a bunch of decks that aren't really much better than each other, but just sort of perform to a similar level and are capable of winning under the right conditions. And I've got a bit lost looking for answers and not really found them. I'm feeling a bit less lost because I wasn't able to play all weekend. I was away at a friend's wedding, which was a good break, and now I've come back kind of refreshed after a few days. And I think, after what we saw this weekend, I'm ready to just focus my testing on green-purple again. And, when in doubt, you got to divert to the thing that you love. So, I think ready to commit myself. Your guide's out. We've got a really good list from our friend to talk about. So feel very positive about green purple.
Nice. Yeah, first of all, I wanna thank you everybody because my guide is again got more demand that I thought it will get. So thanks everyone for buying it or for supporting me, because that's a good bunch of honestly a good bunch of income for me of my because I'm studying right now, and that's very good, honestly, and thank you very much, and I hope you like it. Feel free always to reach out to me if something is not right, or some people already wrote me about some new ideas, and I will update it soon, so feel free to always look back on it. And thanks for that. And speaking about green purple, a good friend of mine, Prymor, I guess if you don't know Prymor, you didn't play the game for a long time, I think. He won a very big tournament in Belgium this weekend with like 250 players, I guess. I think it was like something like that. And
just over 250, I think.
Yeah,
just over.
And with a really, he's an amazing player. So and with a stock green purple list, how it sounds sounds weird now if I say how I would play it right now. I think it's a pretty how can I say, basic list, but a crazy consistent list. There's everything in that I think is should be in there. He decided to go for the pull deliver as card draw. As I always say, like, you have to you have genies and friends, and then you need a bit more of card draw, like just a bit to not. Just a bit to get a bit more consistent, and then you can decide between pull the lever and rabbits. And I don't think in many cases it's too important, but the ink ability of pull the lever is maybe a really good upside, because you like in these matchups where you don't want to use it, you can just ink it. And of course you have sometimes, I guess it didn't came up that much, the synergy between wrong lever and pull the lever. It's very rare that it it's not a big issue, but it's not like you don't play pull deliver to always like get your wrong deliver going in this deck, especially not by the amounts that he played. But LD, what do you say to the list? I think it's a really good list.
Yeah, I really like it, and I think the pull the levers, wrong levers is one of the main points of interest. Like that's where the numbers differ from stock a little bit, and I think it makes a ton of sense because
Yeah.
what you've just said is kind of what I found as well. You could play some rabbits, but in Genies and Friends are your core card draw engine. You do need a little bit more. Like you say, the synergy between the two is rarer in a tempo build than discard because it's so much harder to get that first pull the lever into your discard. You are a tempo deck, so you don't want to take like an early turn off to just draw two cards or make your opponent discard one, so it's probably in your hand. But they are just such incredible top decks. The fact that like when you get towards that point where you're running out of resources, it makes your number of live draws so much higher. I really like the build, and like people know I'm like a huge Prymor fan. Last set I sat after testing like every iteration of green purple discard. I settled on his version as the one that I truly felt was the best, at least for how I like to play the deck. And yeah, massive congratulations to him
Yeah.
because he deserves it, and he's a super consistent player.
Yeah, and
And if you've been playing,
very humble too, like not
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, he's not, yeah, he's a great person, just
Yeah, you won't catch him bigging himself up too much.
yeah.
If you've played the game for a really long time, it's probably a name you recognize. And the thing that, the touch point for me is like way back in the Pixelborn days.
Yeah,
Um,
he was
I hope
very
this
good
doesn't
there.
sound too, yeah, I hope this doesn't sound too cocky, but there were probably only like 2 or 3 people whose like usernames I didn't want to see when I queued up. Like, and Prymor was one of them. He was a player that like could consistently beat me.
Yeah, and
And
he
yeah, super, super good.
he's on my team, and yeah, just if you like, if you spend a lot of time with him, then you just realize also how intelligent he is. And I think that's like also an important thing, obviously. If you're an intelligent person, then he also said I talked with him about his list, and he was obviously very happy. And yeah, I mean, many people like don't like Flynn, but I think it's like it's very important to have enough two questers in the deck to not like to do too dirtly nonsense stuff against some decks. You really need to do meaningful things, and not like play another Pegasus or something. It's just so dirtly sometimes, and you just don't do enough meaningful things if you don't play enough two questers. So even in the end game, just it's very good to just put cheap lore on the board. They are far away from bad in the end game. They're really, really good, and yeah, I think they are. I don't say, because people misunderstand me sometimes, I don't say Flynn is broken, but I think it's like two questers are important. That's what I say, and then Flynn is the best choice we have. I think it's not comparable to Smee or something, but it's like it's the best thing we have, and it's good. It's decent at least, and it's needed. I think it's a good amount of two questers are needed. I don't know how you see it.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting thing to talk about because when you look at the list, the first thing that people tend to, if you were looking to make cuts, or the thing that people most often have questions about is Flynn, because it is a card that was cut for a long time. But yeah, just to echo what you say, it's completely right. You need a high density of two questers, and this is like a symptom of what I've kind of come to notice as a wider. I don't really want to call it an issue in the game, but it's like actually one of the big limitations in the game currently is the massive gap between quality of two drops between different decks. There are entire color combinations which I truly believe are only unplayable because their two drops suck. Like
You mean
there
every
are
non-steel? You mean every non-steel color combination?
yeah, it's non-steel and non-blue
Ember,
because you have
or Ember, sometimes, at
yeah
least Ember with songs or something. Yeah,
yeah. So like if you look at Mr. Smee, Tipo, and Sale as turn two plays, they are such a long way ahead of pretty much everything else. All of that just to say that like a card like Flynn looks worse than it is. It plays such an important role. Just because Flynn is no Smee doesn't mean we don't play it. We need flexible, aggressive, basically inkable two questers on two, because we can't lock into Banzai's anymore. There's too many storms around. We need something to establish a fast clock and actually have a tempo advantage. Because if you're not ahead, like there's no point playing a tempo game.
Yeah, because that's what with my students I talk with that about that a lot, because like you have to be really careful to not build a deck like in a way like that it's just a worse red purple at some point, because you're like I could play like the Bell and the Cricky and a 7-drop Ursula or something, and then you have some stuff that's just worse in the end game than some other decks, and then what is the benefit of your deck? That's what you need to think. Well, why do you play green purple? You play it because you can pressure in the early game what other decks can't do, but then you have like still a good amount of versatility with Ursula and stuff to have a gap over like a hyper aggro deck or something, or you try at least to do that by having a lot of disruption tools and stuff. But the core should still be aggressive. That's your identity a bit, because like red purple is just a better deck in the end game. You can't play the deck like a red purple deck. I don't know if you agree with that.
I agree completely. There have been so many times when I've cut cards like, like even Merfolk has moved in and out of builds in the past of like Merfolk's no good. You cut some Merfolk, you cut some Flynns, you suddenly are doing like Chernobog's followers turn to or run out of Go-Go or play Ursula or something. You get to this point where if everything you're doing is just playing like drawing some cards while you put characters on the board and they all quest for one at a sort of low pace, you kind of get to like 11 lore or something, and then are presented with a board state where you need to play Be Prepared basically, and you realize, I'm not playing a deck. I'm not playing a deck with Be Prepared. I'm just playing like I'm one with Be Prepared. I'm trying to play red purple without sweepers, and it doesn't work. So if you're not like putting your foot on the gas to take tempo advantage and actually like put pressure on your opponents, the deck completely transforms and starts performing really differently. Grindier builds of it can work, but it's just it's not what we're doing really.
That's not what we're doing.
What tempo is about.
I mean, it can work, but then it's just the question for me: are there decks that can do that better? This grindy stuff, and then the answer is yes, because like red purple, like this shark stuff, or like red blue or something, you need to pressure them, or you just if you dawdle around like with some, even Pegasus feels really bad sometimes against them, because you're like play it and then quests 3 times, but okay. So I think he made the right choices. Commits to the things that are important for me if you play green purple, and also like just think about, and he got rewarded by just think about, because people say I get so many matches, Flynn, Merfolk, they are bad against Ember Steel, but but they are good in other matchups. So Ember Steel, you just play you play Ursula regardless on turn 2, so of course you don't have always the Ursula, and then sometimes that's the game you lose, but you shouldn't forget what the core of our deck is. That's just what I want to emphasize. So nice. So great shout out to Prymor. And he will be seen in the future, I'm really sure. Very sad, he was also like his run was really unfortunate in the European Championship. And that was sad, because he was also one of the people I thought could make it to the Worlds.
He's certainly good enough to be playing there.
Yeah, I mean, I rethought it a bit, like it regardless. I mean, it's hard to got to the Worlds this year. It was really hard. Like to
Extremely
win it
hard.
to win a DLC is like lottery thing.
Yeah.
And top 8 in European Championship is one tournament where you need to not perform. So yeah, it's like one tournament where everything decides, because like DLC you can't count on winning a DLC. That's not you can't say, oh, I want to qualify for the world, so I go to DLC Melbourne to qualify. I mean, I think DKP did that, but it's like still like 2,000 players and one winner, and it's like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to have sky high confidence to do that, which DKP has. So that's good. That's good for him, but we couldn't do it.
Yeah, we couldn't do it. Yeah. I think also mathematically, if you are the best, by far the best player in the room, the chances are like 2 to 3% or something. I don't know how much, but I don't think you can confirm that with numbers. But yeah. Okay. What did just shortly? What did else perform? I saw in the finals he played. I saw the finals of Prymor. He played against Red Blue, against Chicha Red Blue. That was surprising for me, because I thought like Chicha is a very, how can I say, a very greedy card, I would say, because like it's very, very slow. And then against a lot of aggressive stuff that's running around, I could see that struggling a bit. But obviously made to the finals. And yeah, obviously did work out very well. So I'm excited if this will also be something in the future. And also there was like, he played in the same. Did you see that? Did you see that tournament? No.
I watched some. I saw a little bit. I was able to.
Did you see the semi-final? Did you see the semi-final?
Which one was that? Was
for
against
Prymor?
Red
For
Blue?
Prymor, this a green steel, was it? It was a child, like a 13-year-old child. I think it was crazy.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And I was really sad for him, because like he seemed to be very nervous, and Prymor opened 3 Murphworks in one game, so like, and then he was really sad. And what an achievement for a 13-year-old.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
That's like
he can be very proud, very proud of that.
Yeah.
It's a really, really deep round in a massive tournament.
Yeah, and Green Steel is also not a deck like that's very easy to pilot. So like even that is it's really, really, really good achievement, I think. Yeah. Is there anything for you that's come up in the last week that
just some things that we kind of slightly guessed, well, not really guessed, but based on our discussions last week and the week before, there were a couple of decks that we sort of acknowledged were really good and were not getting the play that they sort of deserved. Which was that one of them was Red Blue Items. Looked like it was incredibly well positioned in the metagame, and people were scared to play it because of the presence of aggro stuff early on in the format. And the other one was Blurple, which is a serious contender for like super high tier 1. I ranked it as one of my best decks in the format, if not the best deck in the format, but was underrepresented for its strength. And both of them put up some pretty good results in sizable tournaments over the last week or so. So I think we've got the format that we mostly expected to see. As I said at the start, it's really flat. It's really hard to call between a lot of these things what's best. And it's all about picking the right deck for the field you're going into. They've all got some sort of exploitable part to them. It's all about picking the right thing on the right day now, and hoping for your good matchups into the field on the day.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, it's really hard to say. I would say personally that Red Blue Items is the if I would just name something, need to name something. I don't know if that's needed at all, but I just would go with Red Blue Items right now, because like what's the best deck in the format, because like just the matchup spread makes it very appealing for me to play red blue items, because like you have really no really bad matchups. Some aggressive stuff can go under you, but on the play you should still feel confident, and even on the draw you have a chance. So it's like, I wouldn't say they are really crazy favored or something. And then a lot of stuff you really crush, like red purple and I guess even blurple. I don't know exactly the matchup, but I could imagine that could be, I don't know. The mirror with the DKP version is like, everyone says something different. I didn't test it too much, so one people say it's very favored for red blue items. The others say the shark is too fast. I don't know, but just a general matchup spread makes it for me a very good deck. So if I had to go with something, I would go with red blue as a deck. But it's an exhausting deck to play. It's not like
very thought intensive.
Yes, that's true. Okay. Do we want to go over our Worlds? Do we want to talk about Worlds? We both made a lineup which we would bring. A small how can I say I
think the word you're looking for, I'm gonna guess, is like caveat. It means like a little disclaimer or something.
Disclaimer. A short disclaimer. I didn't test that much that I would have tested if I go to the Worlds. So probably the decks are maybe not that defined that I would define them if I would play there, obviously. And another disclaimer, I have actually a lot of some people that I am in contact for Worlds, like some players of them. And even for some people I help them a bit with the what they would play and stuff. And then I also like make it now a little bit like basic, because maybe in a world where we live could be like some weird tech options be viable, and I would not like show them now. But so I go now with some relatively conservative lists, as I would say, but still I'm very confident in them. I think I made a very good lineup. Do you also have some disclaimer?
I don't have a disclaimer. I mean, the same thing is true for the decks I put together, which is that I think that if I spent a bit longer with them, I would refine them a bit in relation to each other, if that makes sense. So I think that like what I've got is 3 decks within the colors I want to play that I see as being like perfectly playable general builds, but knowing that these are my 3 decks and knowing what I probably plan to ban, there are some tweaks I could make. So I think this is like a general starting point builds, but I'm pretty happy with my setup. I have peeked at what you've picked, and I think mine's a bit more rogue. I think I'm representing
but I think that's good, because like we are the two polarization. So how can you say like I think it's good that I'm the conservative one today and you are the spicy one. How can I say? I think that's good.
I'll represent for the rogue deck builders, the people that want to do it the hard way. But I honestly, I'm not just like putting these combos together because I think it's funny. I really believe in the trio I've got. I think there's major merit to it.
Yeah, I think so too. And so you are the rogue one and I'm the boring one, we could say.
Yes, you can be a boring one today.
No, okay. Shall I start or you?
Yeah, well, we'll get the boredom out of the way, and then people can stick around and have some fun after.
Yes. So just first considerations I would have, like I think still, if I talk with many people and I really confident saying that just if you see the power level of decks, I think green, purple, amber, steel, and red, blue are wildly powerful in comparison to other color combinations, because all other color combinations would have at least one deck that I think lacks a bit of power level than the others. So my first idea would just be play those decks, and because I really think you can overthink stuff, and then play these decks and build them in a way that they crush the mirror match. So like, because I think a lot of people could be on that, and I want to be good in the mirror, and that's what I did with all 3 decks, and that would be my strategy, to be good in the mirror. I still let the decks a bit, how can I say, a bit versatile. You could even commit even on more strategy. I thought it'd be, so I go with green, purple, amber, steel, and red, blue items. I could even think about, if I play green, purple, I could cut the Ursula 2-drop because I ban steel always. That's some considerations I would have. But then I'm not able to ban something else, because I really need to ban steel then in all matchups. And then I think, do I want that? And Ursula is not a really bad card in other matchups. It's still a good card. No, I don't think it's a really bad card. And I still, in my lineup that I show you now, we start with green, purple. I would most of the time ban red, blue if I face that, because that's the least deck I want to face with all the 3 decks. And if I face the same lineup than me, then I would ban red, blue. In other cases, I would probably ban the steel deck. If red, blue is in the lineup, I would ban red, blue probably. If red, blue is not in the lineup, I would ban steel probably. But it's really hard to say, because like, it can really, people could go with some crazy stuff, and even then, like, if for example if they go with purple steel, do you ban purple steel? It's hard to say. So I want to be versatile and still not that easy readable, and then I think I built, at least for first testing, I made them now like relatively versatile. So for green, purple, it's not too crazy. The only thing that I think is really good is Iago for the mirror match, and for, I think they are also like not bad into amber steel, because especially against aggro, because like they often do their removal in the early game, so they need to top deck the removal most of the time to be able to deal with the Iago. And if they don't deal with the Iago cleans the whole board nearly. And at least they are for sure worse cards in the matchup. And I still want to have enough questing power. It's very, you can compare it very much to Prymor's list. It's just the Iagos, you could say, that I really think they are really good. That's that. Amber Steel is probably my most spicy list, because I play tested this deck a lot and I really like it, except against red, blue. That's why I think I will probably ban red, blue, because I don't like green, purple into red, blue also too much, and the mirror match also not too much, because red, blue is just a deck I don't want to play against. And then I think it's a very good, like, I play amber steel, you could say aggro, but not too aggressive. It's with a lot more songs, with Zeus and stuff, and Ariel and stuff, and just more removal, and it crushes the mirror really much, because you just have more removal and then you can flood the board. It tested really good. I like it against the mirror, and I like it very much against green, purple. I think it's probably the best of the 3 decks. It's hard to say, but against the expected field from me, I think it's the best deck. And then It will probably be banned the most time anyway. I would guess. I would start with green purple, and this deck gets banned. And in the most cases, I would probably start with green purple because it has the flattest matchup curve, I think, and decent way to start in games. So it's like it plays dogs and Ariel, and it's like a dog deck, and I think some other players showed some lists of this type as well. You have just more gas than the pure deck, and can clean more the board. It's very good against aggro, obviously. Like, you have a lot of stuff and raise yourself very fast. And I'm really high on this list in general. Not only for this tournament, for this format in general. I think it's a very strong list if you can dodge red blue, because red blue is really not what you want to see. And the last deck is red blue items, and here it's also like I tested this deck the last few days a lot, honestly, because I'm high on it, and I really think it's a very strong deck, because you like turn 3 you always play Scrooge or Kamatala, which is so good for board control, and you are so much more resilient to aggro than I thought it is, because your Bell is just absurd. Bell is absurd against aggro, and Scrooge is such a good card. I love it. It contests the board so good while also replacing itself. And what I did for the mirror here is play 3 hideaways. So I play 4 Vitalis Sphere and 3 hideaways. So manners are non-existent, hopefully, and hideaway is so great in the item mirror match, where you can hide away their workshop, which should be often like a game-winning thing, because like you hide away the draw engine. They can't even recur it because it's in the inkwell. So it's like you have your workshops and they don't, if they don't run hideaway themselves. I think the rest is like relatively basic. I think B prep are really good in open deck lists, because many people are not on B preps. I still like to. I think this is also a good list, but the 3 hideaways are actually standing out here, because I just built them to beat the mirror, and then I think that's a very good way to beat the mirror, because like
Nice.
I know I want to ban red blue often, but sometimes I have to look at the deck lists. Still, I can just say I always ban red blue. I don't think that's a good approach. You have to see the list, and if there's something you really don't want to see, because even like green steel could also be a deck I would ban over red blue often, I guess. It's hard to say. Green steel is just a pain to play against, so I hate it to play against green steel. So I would be intrigued to ban it, but I think I would just see the list and then decide then what I would ban. So yes,
Nice.
that's my 3 decks.
It's really hard to argue that that's not the strongest 3 deck option. You know, that is like incredibly strong. You've got 3 things that are certainly tier 1. You know, there's no real hole in that strategy, and that is I would expect that to be the most popular lineup. It just makes sense, right?
I think it's just. I think many player could say, "Oh, I don't want to play mirrors all day," but then I think, I would just trust in my ability to skill gap at least a bit, at least a tiny bit, a bit in deck building and a bit in maybe piloting it in the day. And if I reach just in this high competitive field, just a win rate, a win chance of 55 to 60%, I would be totally happy. You know, that's all I would. I think you can't you can't want more. I don't know. I don't know if it's realistically achievable to get even higher win chance than 60% or something in this high competitive field. I would probably doubt it, but maybe there is some rogue options to really crush people, and I'm just too anxious. But also, yeah, like I said earlier, I didn't think too much now. I built the decks, tagged them for the mirror, and I thought I called it a day. So yeah.
I'm laughing because you said believe in your ability to skill gap people in a 24-person field of just continental championship top 8ers and DLC winners. I don't know how much skill gapping anyone's going to be doing.
Not too. Oh, of course, but yeah, at least a tiny bit by deck building, or even if you can say that. I mean, if you say that, then you should just roll a dice. Then because it should be your goal at least to be a tiny bit better, and that's what I said. Like but that confirms that what you just said confirms what I think. Like if I reach 55% win chance, that would be the best case for me. Like even being even is good enough. Like for this high competitive field, like it's that would be just my goal. Like and I'm not maybe I'm not confident enough to break that, or show with something up that I think just it's always that's a general thing. I don't know if it's the same for you. If you test a card that's really rogue, yeah, and then I think, oh, this is really good right now, and then I think maybe it's not good because no one plays it. I don't know if you know that feeling, because I play it. I think it's strong, but then I think it can't be strong because nobody plays it. Something must be there that's not good, because something I must oversee, because why does nobody play it? Sometimes I need more confidence in I don't know if that was understandable right now.
It is, and I can totally relate to it. I think this game is the first time in my life where I've ever been able to break out of that way of thinking. I've always assumed that somebody knows better than me. That if I have a thought that is different and someone strongly disagrees, I default to they know something I don't, and the assumption that the general level of competence is higher than mine. But it's not true for most, for most people.
That's true. Yeah.
And in this game is sometimes when I've had the confidence to just I've had advice from people that I really respect and think are incredible players, and just had the kind of, I guess, self-awareness to think, yeah, what you're saying is objectively correct, but for me this isn't the right choice. I actually deeply believe in this particular card, and for the way I want to play the game, really believe in its value. So I'm going to play with it, and that's worked out for me multiple times. I'm slowly trying to unlearn that you're talking about, that and actually backing yourself a bit, but it's always a balance, right? Because
it's a balance, because in general, I think it's general in life, I think it's an intelligent way to say someone knows something better than me. I think that's not because I had some discussions where I don't know if that's now good topic, but during COVID, for example, everyone knew what's better, and then I thought let the experts decide what's better, and then. But that was maybe a bit weird. Yeah, it's maybe a weird topic. But in something else, I always think people have too much opinion over things that they shouldn't have an opinion about. But about
I was just going to say it is the challenge is that at some point, if you don't believe in your own ideas, don't, and you don't believe what you think could be right, that's a problem. But also, you can't put your walls up to the entire world and say, no, I don't
Exactly.
believe these people. I know best.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's a constant balance, and it's really, really hard to navigate in pretty much every aspect of your life.
That's true. Yeah,
Because
because like
at, at any given point, like you don't know, should I trust my instinct? Should I trust what the crowd says? Like, if I go along with the crowd, am I just a sheep, or do my ideas genuinely have value? And I think that, like, in TCGs, the best players are just really good at balancing that.
yeah, I think
And
that's true because like it's always like it's also like important who says that, but because like if I
exactly,
think about something and think, oh, Flynn is broken, and then you, Prymor, and Sailor, or I don't know who, says all the same time the card stinks, then I think, because like I think very high on you all three, and then I think, okay, there must be something I'm overseeing. But if some random people say that, or some people I don't know, then I'm always then I'm often confident to
yeah, sure,
to stand to my position. But yeah, I think it's a very good skill to yeah. You're right. The best player in the world are probably best at balancing that,
mm,
because it's really important to know what you don't know. Oh, so
exactly.
philosophical today.
It always gets philosophical, doesn't it? We can't avoid it. We
Yeah,
always end up talking about the nature of the human mind. We're just
yeah.
we can't not go there. We have to
Um,
we have to indulge a bit.
coming back, yeah. I mean, there's not too much to say probably about my lineup. It's like I think if you that's maybe a good um, example, because if you go to the worlds, I think that's all three lists that I showed could be possibly something close to what you
Yep.
play against, because
Hmm.
they will also, I think all decks will be trying to be resilient against aggro,
Yep.
because like this band steel go hyper aggro is like the level 1 conclusion, I think so, and I would be really try to be very resilient against aggro, and then yeah, the rest is like good decks, and I mean in this setup, in this lineup, it's just good decks that nobody, or even like I could even like see people don't have too much time to prepare, maybe because they are busy in work or something, and then I think you go very well with a lineup like this, and you don't, yeah, have anything. And also, like, I don't know if you're the same, but if I would play in Worlds, I would be like also pick a lineup that I think I would regret the least.
Sure.
Because I would maybe regret more a rogue lineup than that's debatable. I think that's not can't be said for everybody, because you could also think like, oh, why did I didn't try this rogue option that I had. But I think in general I would regret more if I go more rogue decks. But it's hard to say. I would, it's also like always something I would have in consideration, like what would I regret the least, and because
I,
it's very easy to regret things, at least for me, in like big tournaments. That's always something, oh, I think about that a lot. Like, oh, what did I play there in this DLC? Why did I play this, or why did I play this? Yeah.
I think I'd be the opposite, actually. I think I would really regret taking a stock, like, best lineup. Why didn't I take a
Mm-hmm.
bigger risk?
Okay, yeah.
Why didn't I bet on my ability to, like, creatively deck build
Mm-hmm.
and in that sort of more rogue space? And, like, also, I think I'm a bit inclined to, like, want to put on a show in an event like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm playing on camera, I would want people to have some cool decks to look at a little bit. That is an aspect. I think I would get a lot of satisfaction. And then if I lose spectacularly, at least I went down trying to do something cool, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I would the worst feeling for me would be crashing out playing amazingly good decks. And it's like or then there's it's purely like execution error.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that
or
would be the
bad luck.
outcome I would
Yeah.
try. That would be the outcome I was trying to avoid. Was like, if you give me the very best tools on paper, and then I fail to execute, well, then I have to live with that, don't I? But if I sort of try to come up with some creative
Mm-hmm.
solutions that maybe work really well, there's a chance they don't. Like, I think I would rather give that a go. That would be where I was more
That's
comfortable.
totally reasonable. That's completely understandable too. I think maybe maybe in that regard, I'm a bit more confident in you than you, because like
Yeah.
I think I would think, I can play that. I can play that good. If I lose, I have bad luck. That's not good. But yeah, I would say I would test so much. I think I played it right. But
Yeah.
that's maybe too confident in that regard. I don't know. Speaking
Maybe
about,
that's a good.
yeah,
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe that's a good time to have a look at my
yeah.
setup.
I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Speaking about creativity, what did you come up with?
So my starting point, I think that the lineup you've got on paper makes the absolute best use of the 6 colors. There's a reason why most people are referencing that as like the level one. Um, what I wanted to do was find a setup which enables me to play 2 decks that I really, really believe in, and then in doing that, have to make some level of sacrifice with the third deck, but but have it not really be a sacrifice. So you take like you have one rogue color option that you actually really believe in. So as I say that, it sounds very abstract. I'll look through the decks; it will make more sense in time. The first deck I've chosen is a deck that I think is absolutely incredible at the moment, which is Blurple. I think um, with the high likelihood of banning steel and expecting to play purple mirrors, when I do play my purple mirrors, I would like my purple cards to be in a Blurple deck, if that makes sense. I think that the build that I'm showing is like super general, like maybe the manners are a little bit out there for current builds at the moment, but just really enable you to slam the door on a lot of the slower things. There's a few different ways to go with building it. I think that maybe still a little overtech for some things that I might not have to play against because of bans. Like 4 is a lot of bells, for example. But it's kind of somewhere near what I've been playing recently. I really like Royal Guard in the deck because you draw a ton of cards and
Mm-hmm.
it trades up really nicely. And yeah, just people know what Blurple does. Ramps and plays ahead, uses that extra time and space to draw a ton of cards. It's very resilient to discard. So if you're banning out aggro and you have to expect to play against, some form of discard deck in a lot of setups, sometimes you're going to be able to do that. It's pretty resilient and really good at outgrinding. And even the super grindy decks like red blue, like it puts up a good fight. There's probably some tools that you could find to help support that. But I landed on Blurple for my first deck because I'm a huge believer in it at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And also in my ability to play it. So it's like it's got that right balance of I think this deck's really good and I think I could play it well. So like why would I not?
Mm-hmm.
That's list one. For my steel deck, I'm playing Amber Steel. I'm playing like a linear aggressive version. I played a ton of this set, and I think it's really good. This version is, I would say, pretty straightforward for the most point. Apart from maybe like John Silver's, I put some John Silver's in addition to Pete's. Like a lot of the answers people are finding for aggro stuff, they're depending a lot on very strong onboard answers like crabbing stuff or foxing. That's well, obviously John Silver doesn't stop fox, but you can slow those good trades from happening
Mm-hmm.
and play out a really, this is like one of those Kiwi style builds where it's just like I'll try to stop. I'll play some aggressive stuff and then stop you interacting with me, or just make it hard for you to find good trades while I run away with the game. Yeah, that's where I'm happiest playing within Amber Steel. I played a build very similar to yours. Thought it was really good and cool, but overall just saw better results with a build like this, and think I can play it a bit better. Which leaves me with red green as my last color combo. Which is a color combo I imagine a lot of people aren't too interested in playing because it's historically been terrible. But I've played a ton of red green discard, and I really think it's a decent deck. And when in a field where you have a ban option and can actually block out, because it's one of its biggest gaps is that it really lacks the early game tools to slow down aggressive stuff. But if you can reliably not play against like the tier 1 aggressive deck in some way, it gets a lot better. You have such a high density of discard in a deck like this that you can completely knock out even decks that are quite resilient to discard, like red-blue items, where they stick a workshop and then all they have to do is top deck items from there and they can dig out the hole. Even those decks, you can discard them so heavily in the early game that you slow them right down. And in open deck lists, I really like Mulan with Mulan Shift as a big gotcha. People will have to respect that in open deck lists, but I also think it's just good in general. The 2-drop trades up really easily. It's like super
That's
good.
a good
with
card. I just saw that. That's a good card. I forgot totally about
yeah,
it.
it's really good in a deck like this because you undermine it or something, you're hitting for tons and you can find good trade ups, and then she just sits there threatening to shift into Big Mulan. Big Mulan also great with undermine, that sort of thing. There's some nice synergies going on. Yeah, aware that a couple of weeks ago I said I'd been working on this a little bit, and I still have, and I'm still playing it a bit. Yeah, I don't think it's like tier 1, but it's a really strong discard deck that I'm more than happy to play as both my red deck and my green deck in this setup. If I can play Blurple, Amber Steel Aggro, and this, I think that's a less regular setup for the Worlds format, but one that I actually think I would have faith in all 3 of those decks. There's tuning to do within them, but I could confidently sit down with those 3 decks and feel pretty good about going into the tournament.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I actually like it because it's also fits you very well. Just randomly fits you very well, right? Because Amber Steel Aggro Blurple are probably your most played decks this season, and then Red Green Discard is also the deck you worked on, so it's like it just fits perfect for you.
It just randomly fits, and I think I've got a lot of practice with it. I think a lot of people will have less reps into some of these decks, especially red green, and a good mix of slightly rogue option, but stuff that I think can compete well. And I would feel very confident at playing these three lists, and I hope someone plays red green at Worlds. I really hope someone plays...
I think it's for sure. It's for sure underrated because it's it's so close to the other stuff. I think I played against one on the tournament. It was really close, and although I felt generally quite comfortable against this card decks, and then I struggled a lot against this high density, like you say, of this card. And then just Prince John on 3, and then this deck really goes rolling. And
it draws a lot. Really gets a lot out of Prince John's. That's why it's one of the few decks that will pretty much always be locked to 4 Prince John.
I really like the Mulan. I really didn't think about her because
she's great.
Even the Ursula, the 2-drop Ursula, the purple one is really good right now, I think, in red purple or something, and this is nearly the same, sometimes even better. And then you naturally can fit in some big Mulans as well, so it prevents a lot of questing, I could guess. Since you reached turn 5.
With sudden chills and undermines, and like the fact that you pretty much always want to stick a Prince John on turn 3, often your turn 4 is just 2 spells, just double discard. And when you're pumping up a Mulan while doing that, it's going to clear pretty much anything out that you need to. Yeah, just trades up super easy. And the threat of the shift is very real.
What is your estimated, or what do you think you will ban? Would you really ban steel most of the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one of the advantages of this as a setup is that. So I think I would ban Amber Steel on site because the aggressive builds of Amber Steel and Amber Steel in general actually poses quite a challenge for
all
red green
and for
blur pool.
Yeah.
It's like, I think to some extent, like all 3 of these decks have the same bad matchup, which also makes it a good setup because you can
makes sense.
Great, one ban really opens you up, which is fantastic. So yeah, I would really be looking to target Amber Steel because I know that you have open deck lists and everything in the format, so you could make a judgment call. But in general, it's Amber Steel stuff. As with everything that I play ever, I only play decks that have bad Amber Steel matchups. That's it. That's like my calling card, is that I'm 0% into Amber Steel at any given time, and then complain that it's the most busted thing ever. Try and play it myself and lose. And I think that's another thing, right? That's an angle that is maybe a little under discussed with this Worlds format and picking decks. Is like, you are looking to make maximum use of the 6 colors, find the best, most powerful combinations in conjunction with one another. But in this format where everything kind of has one bad matchup, there is a lot of merit to trying to combine things in such a way where your one ban is doing a lot of heavy lifting for your which is fine until you play a setup that doesn't have your sort of target deck in it and you don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's the problem for me. Like, you can either I mean, there are 2 approaches. Either you how can I say, you have the most well-rounded setup that you think you have the least weaknesses, or you make it like you abuse the weaknesses of other decks. Like, that's the 2 approaches, and I think both have their spot probably. I think in the general discussion, I think steel is a bit overrated in my general feeling, but that's maybe just me. I know there are some non-games regarding steel, but that doesn't mean that mathematically or something they are just the better decks. I don't think there's a clear it's clear for me to say, oh, Amber Steel is so busted, I have to ban it. It's like Red Blue is also really strong and you can ban it. And I don't think you have sometimes the anxiety of people, like has them too much under control, I think, because like they think, oh, Cindy storms me and stuff, and then but the tournament data doesn't represent that it's always like winning, and that if that doesn't represent that, then it doesn't represent that in Worlds too. So you ban steel because you don't want to play against it. That was also okay. But it's like from a competitive standpoint, not, I think, the most competitive view, or how can I say that? Like it's not professional or something. You don't want to play against, but it's not like the professional way to think about it. I think the best way, and that is still what the most people will do, I think, is like look at the 3 decks and then decide by that what you ban. Like if some go with some weird stuff, like even purple steel or red steel or blue steel, are these decks you ban? I don't know. You ban Amber Steel, okay?
Most people.
But if they don't go Amber Steel, your complete calculation goes goes wild because you thought you don't play against steel, and then they play a wild rogue deck in red steel, and then it's weird. Then your decision becomes immediately weird, and that's why, for me personally, I would try to have the least amount of weaknesses. And I think yours also very proactive, so you don't care too much about what they other, or like you don't have some auto lose matchups, I think, in these all three decks. So like you don't need to be afraid of any lineup too much, I think. Especially red green, like it wins the same games, then green steel also wins. I think they often like these Diablo Prince John stuff, and maybe struggles a bit more against aggressive stuff. But I don't think, like, if you, it's really, I think it's red green is for me the deck in the meta that's the most underrated deck, because it like it has even some very serious upsides above the other discard decks.
Yep.
But it just lacks a bit in cheap board interaction. That's the only problem.
Yeah. There's a couple of points of tension. Like, you do have really good early game removal options like Brawl, which is a fantastic tool against like Diablo decks, aggressive decks, any Genie deck. Like Brawl is super versatile and is going to help you stabilize in a lot of games. But like on your 3 ink turn, this deck essentially needs to damage on, or it's a bit behind. And green steel just answers this stuff so much better. Like being able to play your Singer, and then like your removal is free, and this one is not doing that. Like with this deck, if you ever get a Robin Hood to live long enough to quest with but the game basically ends. If you don't, it's a tough one.
Yeah, nice. What would you guess? Would you guess what will be the winning? It's hard to say. Like, but do you think it's something boring? How can I say, or do you think it's something spicy? Because that's very hard to say for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's maybe it's just random, and we can't say that because it's also like a lot of variance in it, and maybe not accurate to say. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's highly likely that the winning setup will be very close to what you've put forward. But yeah, really tough to say because you've also got their sealed deck results to take into account.
Yeah,
like
true.
Somebody could have a really, really crazy super sealed pool, and then just have like a slightly above average constructed run, and it could be enough to carry them into the top 8, and then they go on to win. Yeah, but I do think we should do some guesses on players.
Yeah. What is your? I have a clear winner for me. No, not a clear, but I have one. I think that
I think we should pick 3 each, so we don't play favorites. We can go back and forth.
Okay, then I start. The first is for me Frank Carsten for sure. I think he's just a mastermind of card games in general. I think he's. I would compare him. I have to say, I see Moyen the same, and Moyen and Frank Carsten are for me really comparable because they are both like really masterminds of card games, I think. And if Moyen would play, I would be with Moyen, but Moyen is sadly also not qualified. So Frank Carsten for sure. What's your first?
My first is Ed Chu. I think that Ed is someone who has lots of those qualities that regular listeners will have heard me mention as like the qualities of exceptional players. He perfectly exemplifies somebody, like a player who can execute to the absolute highest standard.
That's true, yeah.
While also bringing their own creative ideas, and that is like above all else what is going to help you stand out in a pack like this, is that you've built and teched decks in a really intelligent way, and then you shuffle them up and make very few mistakes, if any.
He's for me the
yeah.
king of consistency for me, because he like.
Yep.
Although I have to admit, like, sometimes I don't agree with all his like deck building decisions, because he like plays only 2-liners, or like a deck with a lot of 4s, and I tend to build my decks a bit more versatile, but it's not that many. But he like perfects that this consistency, how can I say, concept of card games to the maximum extent, and that can't be too bad. And also he won like DLC and the North American Championship. How can you speak against that? Like, my second name. Oh, that's so sad, because like if ever any one of the participants listens, then I have a lot of names I could say, and I think there are a lot of players that they would deserve to win. So don't feel bad if I don't name you or something. There is just what I think, how I play the game. Of course, you'd always like think of you play the game the best, and then you of course think the players that are comparable with your play style. You think higher of them, of course. Like, and I think second would be Zach Bivens for me, because I think he's like, he makes the best testing, at least for that what I know. I don't actually, to be honest, I don't know him too well, but I had still some contact with him, and he like tests the way I do it mostly, and that's like testing against yourself and play focus on the important things. He really is the best in focusing about the important things, I think, and not like play a lot of random games on a Voldemort platform, and then that's not very good testing. Like you have a deck, and then you play the deck 20 times against one of the decks you think you're going to face, and then you see the outcome, and then you see the matchup, how good the matchup. And I think that's exactly what he does, and then he changes cards. And also he's one of the players that I think never I saw something he wrote or commented or something that I thought what or something. He's always like, always what he says is like right for me, at least that what I experienced. And he's also a really cool dude, and I like him very much, so I have to go with Zach Bivens. And you?
My next one is Wonderland. I have a lot of respect for him as a player, and I think that this is more on like he can obviously play at an exceptionally high level and is a really good thinker, but he's also like such a good ambassador for the community. Like he does so much and is out there doing coverage, streaming, participating in a ton of things, and has just like a great spirit. Like is such a cool person to talk to and hang out with. I think that he can thrive in an environment like this.
I think it's also like he has like how can I say, a psychological advantage, because I think he doesn't get very nervous or something. He just thinks it's, at least that's my how I feel it is. Like he thinks, oh, I drive there, play the tournament, a lot of fun. I play 3 good decks and give it a go and see what come out. And that's a good way of thinking, probably, if you go there. And obviously he's a very good player, nobody doubts that. He's a top tier, one of the best player in the world, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like you say, just this, there is a lot on the line at Worlds. Like when you look at, I saw on Twitter like someone saying what a ridiculous prize breakdown for a world championship. And it's like, if you're saying that, you do not understand the dollar figures attached to these cards. Like, this is a ridiculous prize breakdown for a world championship. This is,
of course,
this is mega bucks. And for a lot of people, like, it's very, very significant money for everybody playing. If you are someone who can maintain a cool head, which I totally believe that Luke is one of those people, like you say, he at times appears immune to stress. That will go a long way. People will panic under environments like this, even if they're very composed, experienced players. Having the right mindset will go a long, long way. And I think that in terms of a lot of the qualities that you need to succeed, yeah, Luke has some too.
Yes, of course. Oh, the third name will be hard for me now. I didn't
Who are you
think
going to
about
leave
it.
out? Which
No.
friendship are you going to end forever?
No. It's really hard because I have two names. I say two names, okay? Is it okay?
Yeah. Fine.
It's Sailor and Federico. Sailor because he is he's just he's so professional. He is like the best theoretical person I know probably in the game. And also I could imagine he's one of the, I don't know exactly, but he's one of the best prepared persons in the world. I could imagine, I don't know. I think he will test a lot and he will be prepared very good. And I think when Sailor comes up, brings a lineup, there's serious thoughts about that. There's not something like I don't know, I find this a good deck or something. He will really, I think nobody does that, of course, but like he's everything is tested to the maximum extent, I think. And Federico is just I have to name him because he's like, first of all, he's a very, very, very nice person. I played against him only once, actually. Not twice, because in LCCC too. And I was both games so impressed how he piloted it. And that's really left a how can I say, left a mark on me. Like I can, it's very rare that I see someone play and I'm really impressed just how he plays it and how I struggle against that or that, and then I thought I won and then I didn't because he played it. It's crazy that it's actually executable in Lorcana still to that extent, because you also always think like very snowbally game, but then there come players and still play something different than you might think, and then try to play you out like that. And in both LCCC, and I was very impressed. And also he played in LCCC, I think, a mirror match against DKP. I think I remember that did go like over an hour, I think, and that was also like so impressive how he played that out. That was. I have massive respect for him, and I think he's a top contender for me. He will bring also, I think he will be prepared really good. You can't underestimate him. He's a very, very good player. Yeah. Sorry, I named four now.
Well, I'm going to do the same because I also want to mention two different names. The first one I want to mention is DKP, for the reason that I believe DKP believes he is the world champion more than any of the other competitors believe that they're world champion. And I say that like not even as a joke. Like that's not like poking fun. Like confidence is important.
Is important, yeah.
I think that like DKP can visualize his path to winning this tournament.
Yeah. and
he can deliver it, and like he can see it and then make it happen. And I believe in that. Like, you can absolutely, if you go into something thinking you're going to lose or not make it, you will lose and not make it. There is such a thing as blind confidence, but it's very hard to call something blind confidence when the player is exceptionally consistent and accomplished as well, right? Like, that's not blind confidence. That's just backed up confidence. So for that reason, like, you cannot count him out. Far from it. You've got to put him in the conversation because, yeah, he's got a confidence that like aligns with his play skill, and it's quite impressive.
And he's also he's for sure one of the best players in the world. That's for sure.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And then the last one is slightly a vote with my heart, which is WEP, which is
nice.
Michel Astorelli, right?
Yeah,
very close to that. Maybe I completely butchered his name. Sorry, WEP, if I did.
Asirelli, I think it is. I think.
Ooh, very nice. Did not expect that to come from you. Very nice. A really, really just genuinely kind-hearted and nice person that we both met at the European Championship. And I remember speaking to him on day one when we were just hanging around. Like, he was qualified for the event, but he was there on the Friday, unless I'm completely misremembering this, while we were LCQing. And then he came up and said, like this was a guy I'd never seen or met before, an Italian guy, and he just sort of said, like, "Hey, really nice to see you. I really like your podcast, and I really like Green Purple," which is like, much the same as many interactions I have with people. that happens to me quite often. Like, bless our fantastic fans, like, and people that listen, like, they're all awesome. I have quite a lot of conversations like that, and it's always a pleasure. And then, like, this, like, what was on that Friday, like a random dude who's like, "Yeah, I like Green Purple." It just smashes with this deck.
Yeah, he's great.
Could very, very easily have been European champion.
Yeah,
like was within a breath of winning the European Championship.
He made coaching 1 week before European Championship, coaching with me. And I said to him, okay, I don't know what I can teach you because you are like already like on the same level than me, so like I can teach you. He just wanted to have confirmation, and that's also some people that do coaching just want to. That's reasonable to just get confirmation about their thinking. And he's very good player, and he's like thinking about a lot of how to get better. Just, I mean, it's very simple, but he thinks about a lot to get better, and that's what good players make.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool.
We are very lucky that we will get to, we have a bunch of friends competing in the tournament.
Yeah.
Not playing favorites. If we didn't name you, it's not because I don't want you to win. Like, maybe I want you to win even more. I'm just not saying it. But it's like, there are a lot of. It's a nice position to be in where it's like there are a lot of people that I can feel genuinely really happy for if they do win this. And man, that 1-of-1 Mickey, like, that is some life-changing money. That's life-changing money. That's like house money. You get your house outright with that. Yeah.
That's crazy. And of course, like we mentioned, there are a lot of other names I could say now, like Sanside and Kurt Spice, and it doesn't mean that there's a lot of. If you don't were named, I think the world competitors won't have time probably to hear this anyway. So
they're not listening to this week. They are too busy.
Yeah. So no problem with that. I'm very excited. It will be how can I say, a meaningful weekend for the Lorcana World, of course. Yeah, and I hope, and I'm kind of hopeful that we get some other news, honestly, in the weekend. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I
Do you
mean,
think that?
we've been told that we'll get the DLC dates. We've been told that that's what we'll get, and that is what people are waiting for.
Yeah.
We have waited too long now. Like, there's no hiding from that. It's been much too long without open tournaments, official circuit. We need it soon. And I think that, like, when it's announced, hopefully it's sooner rather than later, within reason. Like, I don't want to be booking travel for 2 weeks' time, sort of thing. But I would like it to come soon. And we can all get excited for meeting up, seeing each other, getting out to the same events, and just bringing the community back all together again. You know, these third-party events that are happening have done an amazing job of, like, keeping the fire alive. And it can't be understated. Like, if anyone is listening that is like the organizer of even small events, the role that you've played in supporting this game is so important. So, like, there is no game without you. People would have lost interest. This was a big lapse in official events. But we're at the turnaround, and I hope we get those dates. Hope it looks good for everyone, and we can just get some excitement going again for next year, and we can both get queued for Worlds.
Yes, of course. And just to conclude the Worlds topic, I just wish it will be a fair tournament. There will be just a fair competition. But I'm really hopeful that it will be. And maybe the best. I wish everyone really good luck, and hopefully no weird things happening that decide games or stuff. But I think that will be. And that's also always something I wish, like, just a fair competition, and then it will be a cool thing. Yes, I think we are. Yeah, I think that sums it up, right?
I think so. Yeah, we've been going for quite a while again, as
always. Good luck, everyone, on the Worlds. We will be back next week with probably more Worlds talking and what happened there and stuff, and see who will wins. And I think will be very exciting to talk next week. So thank you everyone for watching. Till next time, and bye bye.